Design comes from being able to take a basic pattern and manipulate it into something that is not standard. One way is through the manipulation of darts. In flat pattern, there are two ways to do this. One is slash and spread, and the other is the pivot method. In this video, I will be showing you the slash and spread method. We ask ourselves, what is a dart? A dart is a wedge shape or diamond shape marking on a pattern that, when sewn, controls the fit of the garment. There is terminology associated with darts. At the top here we have the apex, which is also referred to as the pivot point or the bust point. It is the highest point on the front of the body. Below it we see that there is another vanishing point, which is the dart point. This is where we would sew our dart to, not to the apex. The lines that you see going into the waistline of the pattern are the dart legs, and the space in between is the dart intake or uptake. This is the fabric that we're removing from the pattern when sewn to create the shape that we desire. Darts can be placed anywhere on the bodice. This is our original dart that we had. And if we shifted the dart to this location, it would be considered a French dart. In this location, it would be a side dart, mid-arm hole dart, shoulder tip dart. In this location, it's the mid-shoulder. This is another standard. The mid-neckline is in the neckline, obviously. The center front neck is the intersection of the center front and neckline. The center front bust level is this location. And the last standard one is the center front waist, which hits the waist and center front. So a dart can be placed in any of these locations, which then gives the visual appearance of a different design. However, the fit is always the same. Darts can also be placed anywhere in between these locations, but the standard ones are the ones that I have marked on this pattern here. So to do it, it's very simple. What you want to do is trace off your pattern. And decide where you're going to place the dart. So in this pattern we have our standard dart. And let's say we want to put one in the mid-arm hole. We would then take a ruler and draw a line to the location that we want the new dart to be. With a pair of scissors, what you would do is you would cut down your new dart leg to but not through the vanishing point, and you would also cut up one of the dart legs to but not through the vanishing point, which is also the apex or the bust point, that pivot point that I mentioned earlier. Just be careful not to cut the piece off when you do it. So now we have this little bit of paper hinge. And so what you're going to do is this is one of the dart legs, you're going to bring this dart leg, which you've cut, over to the dart leg which has not been cut, essentially removing that dart. And when you've done that, it then opens the dart here. So you close one door and it opens another. Remember that in life. You can tape that down, and that becomes your new pattern once it's traced off. Let's do another. This time I'm going to do one in the shoulder. We'll take this pattern instead. Because I've drawn the dart to the dart point, I'm going to draw it to the pivot point or to the apex, because that's where I'll cut. So find the center of the shoulder and draw a line. That's where I want my dart to be. and that's where it currently is. So once again, I'm going to cut up the dart leg, the original dart leg too, but not through the vanishing point, the apex. And then I'm going to cut down to the vanishing point or the apex on this side, making sure that I keep a little bit attached. If for some reason you should cut too far and it fall off, just tape it back on. So again, I'm going to cut down. Turning this around. I'm going to close that dart up, which allows it to open up somewhere else. And again, with a little piece of tape, you can tape that down. And this then becomes our new pattern. This piece sticking out here is not part of it, so that can be removed. But then this is what we're left with. So as I said, a dart can be placed anywhere on the bodice. As long as you close up the original dart, it will open up somewhere else. Just draw the line to the location that you want the new dart to follow, and then close the dart up that was original. So once you have this, you need to trace it off. I'm going to change it out to this one. This example that I have here is the mid neckline. Side seam. Be careful when you trace it off that you get an accurate copy of it. And of course you need to mark the vanishing point. You can use your awl to stab the paper if needed. It's all traced. So this will be our new dart. If for some reason this is not a continuously smooth line, you can use a curved ruler, a hip curve, or a hip curve, French curve, in order to make that a smooth line. If your center front for some reason is not a straight line, make sure that you true that up by drawing a new line, and your side seam the same thing if it's not. Just be careful cutting it. So now what we need to do is we need to get the proper shape of the dart. There is a portion of the dart that sticks out beyond, or it could dip into, depending on what curve it's on, out of the pattern. And that will assure us that when we close the pattern up and sew on the stitch lines, which are the two lines that you see here, that the edge of it blends back into the original edge as it was. So what you're going to always want to remember is that you always want to take the dart leg closest to the center front of the garment and fold it over to the one that's further away. So in this case, this dart is going to be folded in that direction. Always think of a dart like a pocket. You should be able to put your hand into it when it's done. So vertical darts get folded center front to side seam. On the back, it's center back to side seam. If the dart is horizontal, what you want to do is take the dart leg closest to the bottom edge of a pattern and always fold it up to the one that's higher up. Remember, a pocket. You should be able to put your hand in it when it's done and pressed properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this line and I'm going to then bring it over. In some cases you might need to use the edge of a book, the edge of a table, to hang the vanishing point off so that you're able to fold it, because when you're folding it you are creating shape. So I'm going to do that with this very large piece of paper. So clean everything off here. We don't need all of this paper, so I will cut off what I don't need. So fold the dart leg closest to the center front. And because I don't have the edge of a table or a book handy, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold up that edge and fold the other piece down. We do need to make sure that our dart legs are equal, so this is one way of doing that. What you can do is you can tape this down to hold it in place, or you can take a tracing wheel and trace over this edge. And what that will do is it'll give you the proper shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. So holding that closed, it is half scale, so it is a little bit easier. This dart is going to be a little bit different than other darts, and it depends on the size of the dart. It depends on its location. But you would continue doing it, and as you can see here, there is a noticeable difference in that dart. So you can see that the dart comes up, but then it goes down and it comes back up, and this is natural because when it gets folded, part of it, because of its width, sticks off the edge of the center front there. So that piece would then it doesn't get sewn. The sewing lines would be the two pen lines that I have there. So when that gets sewn and caught in the neckline, that's where you would have your dart. But that's how you can manipulate darts, or start manipulating darts around the body, by drawing the line once again anywhere that you want that dart to go. The one that I just did was the mid neckline, and cutting down the line to but not through the vanishing point, and up to but not through the vanishing point, creating a little hinge there. Close your original dart, or the dart wherever you want it to be, and it will open somewhere else.